going on, everyone?
Idly ho, neighbor.
It's another glorious day in the dumpster fire we call America. And we're here to just spread some of the great things that are going on to make you appreciate that dumpster fire that much more. Right?
Amen, brother. Woohoo! America.
America. America.
Actually, America, yes. The government, fuck this.
No, America. Press 1.
Yeah, there you go.
Get it right.
Right.
So, that being said, let's go ahead and get some of the wonderful boilerplate shit out of the way for all you folks. Number one, anything we say on here is for entertainment purposes only. Let me say that again slowly. For entertainment purposes only. If you do not understand what that means, you have definitely hit the wrong button there or somewhere you do not belong. My suggestion is find a safe space, a hot pocket, and go back to your basement. Also, what we say here. Shit. No, Moose, I can't do this right now. There's Moose.
What's up, man?
What's up? You're calling me right as I'm giving my spiel.
I was sitting backstage. I was like, hey, man, you gonna let me in?
I don't have any control. It's the boss that has all the controls. You got to wait for the boss.
I'll call T then next. I'll call Vanguard then.
As I was saying, we are a bunch of like-minded individuals that's talking about whatever's on our radar today. And you don't have to agree with it. We really don't care. That's your prerogative. You ain't telling any lies there, brother. I agree with you. But do your own research. You know, we're not a news agency. We don't claim to be one. We're just here talking some shit and basically get some things off our chest.
And to make it really clear that me and Saxman agree with the Clintons. We think they're great people, and T doesn't. But that's, T's opinion here. When we're backstage, it's different, but on the show, it's that way.
You know what?
If
I'm that important to Bill and Hitler, pack a lunch, you know where I live.
I truly think they're big greasy piles of shit, and calm down, stop talking, make air quit coming through your mouth for a second. I'm a good driver. I have I'm in good health. I have no intentions of harming myself. So if you find me on the side of the road, or
down a ravine or in a lake,
an Arkansas plate sticker beside me, or
he's also a good swimmer.
Yeah, and I'm a great swimmer. So there we go.
About New York.
Just saying. I'm going to say the same thing.
Arkansas or New York tags.
Right.
Yeah. To kind of along with Sax, man, I'm not suicidal either. I'm not. Well, I am kind of crazy, but but I don't agree with T on the show. Now backstage, I agree with him 100%, but on the show, I don't agree with him because I'm not suicidal. So. Yeah, me and Saxman are the same way. We agree 100%, don't we, Sax?
There you go.
All right. See, T he doesn't care. Yeah, T's dangerous. Likes to live on the edge.
He is dangerous.
Oh, you know what? I wake up every morning saying, "What trouble can I get into today?"
Oh,
it's a great frame of mind to be in. I look at every day a challenge. I ran a red light today inadvertently and probably shaved 3 or 4 years off my wife's life. But to her credit, she did not scream. She kept her eyes closed, grit her teeth, and held on. And I did maneuvers in that Honda Pilot that would make some people cringe.
I wouldn't.
We didn't get hit, and we made it home.
There you go. That's all that counts.
So,
Yeah,
just
that's it.
saying.
I'd love to see you on a motorcycle too.
No, I can't do a motorcycle. I can't do them. I'm sorry. I almost got a foot ripped off one as a kid when I was riding my dad. Motorcycles not my thing, dude. I'm sorry. My foot got caught in the back wheel when he swerved to miss somebody coming out of a refinery, and it snatched my shoe off. And that broke me of ever wanting to ride on a motorcycle.
Yeah. One wreck on one or an accident like that usually breaks a lot of people. I don't know. I've had a couple, never one on asphalt. So everybody's like, that's why you hadn't stopped riding yet, you dumbass. You're paralyzed. You ride a trike, but what the hell? And I'm like, hey, I hadn't had a wreck on asphalt yet, so I guess I'll have it eventually and maybe finish my spine off. I don't know.
Well, I know. There's been a few times I wouldn't mind getting on one, riding one, having one, but I just can't bring myself to do it. And I've also had my wife tell me a couple of times, if you enjoy being married and you enjoy the perks of said marriage, you might want to rethink which one to buy.
Oh yeah, my ex-wife didn't like it, but and then so I never got one while we were married, but I rode, some while we were married.
Yeah.
She rode. I got her on there with me one time, and she told me when we got off the bike that afternoon, she said, "I'm never getting on a bike with you again." And I was like, "Okay," and I was like, "All right." So I was sitting there thinking in the back of my mind, "Good, I don't have to buy her own four-wheeler now. She'll never get on a four-wheeler with me again." That's what I was thinking. Didn't work. It actually backfired. She, demanded to get after a ride on the back of my four-wheeler. She wanted her own four-wheeler, and I was like, So yeah, but yeah, she kind of told me the same thing. No bike. She said I can deal with a lot of things, and at the time I was doing what I was doing before I got hurt.
Yeah.
So I was kind of living on the edge a little bit, I guess you could say then, but not really. In my opinion, I was actually probably safer than patrolling. Anyway,
Okay.
that's just my opinion, the way I looked at it.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. I'm just that broke me of wanting. I mean, that was it. That was my dad. I love my dad. Trust him for anything, but there ain't no damn beta male sitting here. You was talking shit tonight. Jay's in the house, guys.
Oh,
boom!
I'm glad to see he's in men's clothing. Tell Jay, he looks good in a pair of cowboy boots and pants this time instead of the dress. We're proud of him.
Well, going back to what we originally, the whole title for tonight, Transinsanity. I mean, everybody's heard about this fucktard that shot up the hockey game. And I want to go back to where I feel like all this kind of started. It's not directly related, but well, it is and it isn't. I would like to take a moment to thank.
Are we talking about the shooting up in Canada?
No, we're talking about the shooting up in Rhode Island.
That happened today?
Happened yesterday. You need to go look this dude up and see how he looks.
What's going on right now? Today's Fat Tuesday. Give me a little slack, okay?
That's fine. That's fine. But what I'd like to do is I like a moment to reach out and thank Obama bin Laden, our fine fake black president we had for 2 terms, who did nothing but try to destroy this country and divide it. And he did a good job of it. I mean, George Soros thought he was the best for it.
Excellent job.
He's the one who set things in place to make gay marriage a thing. Before, a few states did it, and if they wanted to adopt that bullshit, then fine. But made it for everybody.
Wasn't Obama the one that basically said gay marriage was legal?
He's the one who made it made he's the one that went with the Supreme Court that made it where they recognize the same-sex marriage as part of the 14th Amendment.
Didn't that happen under his term?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just clearing the air on that. Just making sure that is my memory was
yeah,
right.
This all took place in 2015. And what's funny, when I was still full-time employed, my work wife, she was a diehard Democrat. And we would argue every day. We were thick as thieves. Love her like a sister. And even she thought that was horseshit.
And your president ran on, that same-sex marriage is we're not going to do that.
My attitude.
He ran against it.
My attitude is this: if they want to get married and be as miserable as the other married people, that's fine.
No,
let them fucking do it, but they don't need to call it a marriage. They need to
well,
call it
that's the whole point.
Together, whatever. And they want to do it for tax reasons or whatever. Go ahead.
No, they shouldn't get any tax breaks for it, dude. Because hear me out. This country was founded on the cornerstone and principles, Christian principles. That was this
man and woman. The way I always thought of marriage, but you have separation of church and state. That's the only problem.
Where in the Constitution does it say that?
Well, it didn't say that in the Constitution.
There you go. There's the problem right there. It's not in the Constitution. This is some bullshit they instilled.
It's in the Bill of Rights pretty hard. If you read through it about your rights given before God.
There you go.
Liberty and the pursuit of happiness.
And you also have to read it into the context that it was taken as
back in the 1700s.
Well, the 1700s. It's also kind of like it's not kind of like it is the fact that it was a Christian nation, and they were talking about the state, i.e., the government, not being able to set up the Anglican church or any other church like that as the government church. And it wasn't, hey, let's take Buddhists and Muslims and everything else. It was dependent on denominations of Christianity. But
it's based off of it, but we don't have it. But it's like the Catholic Church does not rule this country.
Well, no.
What was it? King, I can't remember what king it was. He wanted to get divorced from his wife, and the Catholic Church wouldn't allow it. So basically, he decided England was going to be a different denomination. I think Methodist is what came out of it or something. And so he started that, kicked the Catholic Church out of the castle, and got his divorce and got remarried, to another woman. And I can't remember what king that was that did that. And it may have been 15 or 1600s. I think that happened. 1400, somewhere in there. I'd have to go back on my world history and look, but yeah. And they had actually learned from that, that, hey, look, we don't want, but we all believe in these principles. So, it's kind of weird. The state, the church does not rule or make our laws, but it helps influence our stuff very heavily.
Right, but my whole point is that the foundation of this country was based on Christian principles and beliefs.
Correct.
And that's where I'm getting to right there. And we've deviated from that, and we've let the politicians kind of warp and change everything to fit their narrative so they can stay in power, manipulate the people, and it's made us worse off for it. And so when you go in, we shouldn't be making same-sex marriage. If you want to look, if that's your thing, let your fucking freak flag fly, but keep it in your fucking house. All right. If you want to gain merit, gain the benefits of being married, then fucking marry somebody with different plumbing. Good for you. Because in the Bible, and I don't quote me because I'm definitely not some kind of biblical scholar here. I'm the last one you want to ask. But it specifically states man and woman. Okay,
Actually, no, it doesn't.
what does it say?
Well, in marriage, yes, but
That's what I'm
it
talking
says
about,
in
marriage.
the Bible, if um, it is an abomination against God to lay with another man or another woman. Like, if you're a man and you go lay with a man, another man, that's an abomination against God.
Exactly. That's my whole point.
That's what he just said.
No,
So,
I'm telling you what it says in the Bible, dude.
well, no, that's fine. But
Yeah.
my whole point is marriage is supposed to be the bond between a man and a woman. We shouldn't be making special exceptions so Fred and Frank and Mary and Marianne can hook up and be married because you're the same. That's not what the basis is for. If you want those benefits, then get your wiring fixed. I don't know what to tell you.
So,
Because it's not fair to the people who haven't got fucked up wiring. It's not fair to the whole. It's not fair to anything. And because they want to be a bunch of fucking deviants and force it down your damn throat and go and like, remember back when all this shit started, some guy had a bakery somewhere.
yeah.
And a couple of sweet peas walked in there and wanted him to make a cake. And he said, I'm not going to serve you. And he ended up getting fucking sued.
I think it was, hang on, that was actually in Denver, Colorado, the bakery. And the guy was known as being a Christian baker, and they intentionally targeted that guy. If I remember correctly, he took it all the way to the Supreme Court, and he won. If I'm not
Did
mistaken.
he win?
He won, I believe, because I believe that they came back and they said he owns his bakery. He has the right to say, I don't want to do your business. I don't want your business.
It's the same thing as saying,
You know,
no shirts, no shoes, no service.
Right.
Or if you come into like my house and I say, and you tell me to cook you supper and I tell you to get the hell out, same thing, dude. The only difference is you come to my house and I order you to get out. I'm only going to tell you that once, and then we're going to probably need to call to get you a ride.
Yeah, what basically happened,
that.
going back to look at it, was Masterpiece Cake Shop versus Colorado Civil Rights Commission. He had to sue Colorado because Colorado fucked him. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of him because he refused to make a custom wedding cake for same-sex couple, and the court determined that Colorado Commission showed hostility toward his religious beliefs, violating his First Amendment rights, but did not rule on whether the businesses can generally refuse service. See, this is the kind of shit that happens. They leave a fucking loophole or don't tie it off, so you got to come back and deal with it again.
Well, the problem, they kind of leave the loophole, but they don't. It's pretty fucking cut and dry, but they do leave a loophole.
They did not rule on whether businesses can generally refuse service. That's a loophole. Any way you cut it, that's a loophole.
They ruled in his favor. That's
they did, but they did in that case between him and what Colorado Commission did to him. But they left a loophole and ass into that for anyone going forward with that same situation.
Well, all right.
We can
back
do this
a little bit and go back to the whole Jim Crow South. Hey, you got to sit over here, or if you want something to eat, you can go around back, pick it up from the kitchen. We don't want y'all up front, era. And then that's kind of why they're leaving it open, but closing it, if that makes sense.
Well, they're leaving it open because, I don't know. If you're keeping it pertaining to same-sex fuckery, I don't see why they could have specified that in the ruling and left it that way. And you ain't got to worry about somebody. First off, there's too many protections in place for them to try and pull that shit for somebody because of their creed or national origin.
I got news for you. If you come in and try to make me do something like that I don't want to do, I'm going to tell you, dude, I don't want to do it. Back off of me. Because you might not like how I handle it. Because we're not going to go to the Supreme Court. Now, we might go to a court and be judged at some point. But, you know, it won't be a court in this world. Let's just say that.
Well,
and that's according to my belief. So
okay, and that's fine. I guess my point being, going back to what I was originally saying, it specifically states a man and a woman. Yeah. You shouldn't deviate from that, and you should make allowances for it. That's part of what's wrong with our society now. That leads into the whole title and what tonight's show's about. If you'd stuck to those core principles, you wouldn't have encouraged this fucking warped ass deviancy that's running rampant. I mean,
can I say something? Can I say something that probably will get his strike?
Well, I mean, what are you going to say?
I just want to point out who God made. That's it.
No, you're right.
I mean, God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
I can't go get an argument with you.
Call me crazy, but, you know, you can talk.
You're right. Sax, man, what you got to say about all this shit?
Okay, here we go.
Boy, drove me get a dip.
So, you remember Klinger, right? From MASH?
Yep.
All right. So, what did Klinger do all the time?
Try to get out of the Army.
Wearing what?
A dress.
There you go. Because, yeah. So, generally it was women's clothing because it was understood that if you're running around wearing women's clothing, they're going to get you out of the Army, right?
But I think in season 2, he re-upped and stopped wearing women's clothing and started wearing men's clothing and all that.
Okay, thanks. So, back in, let's see, 1973, they finally took homosexuality and all the other isms and letters and stuff like that off of the DSM. It took them that long, and really not until 1987 did they not classify stuff like that as a mental disorder. And it wasn't because everybody said, you know what, we got to rethink this. It was absolutely because you had so many activists and lobbyists going up to the DSM, and saying, y'all really need to rethink this. We don't think we're, we have a mental condition. It would be the same thing as saying, a sociopath or a psychopath getting together a big association and or league, with their own lobbyists and going there and saying, hey, you know what? We're just born this way. And y'all need to accommodate us. Yep. Which kind of leads in, again, into what you're talking about. You're having these folks with mental conditions and guns, and it's being not only propped up by your government, it's being propped up by the media, because they all refer to the shooters as women. The latest two, the guy up in Rhode Island and the guy in Canada. Yeah, they're both calling them. Oh, they're women. No, they're not.
They got peckers.
I'm gonna say one thing, and I'm sure. I think Vanguard, didn't he play college ball? He probably backed me up on this. Back, I can't remember what year it was, in the NFL draft, they were making a big deal out of this offensive lineman from Missouri because he was the first openly gay football player to ever, go in the draft. And no, there was a couple of guys when I played college ball that were gay, and we knew it, and they never talked about it. They never threw it in anybody's face. We were respectful. We didn't talk about our stuff that now when they weren't around, yeah, we talked about hooking up with girls and stuff like that, but you know we didn't throw it in theirs. It was just kind of that understood respect thing. That's all it was. And they kept it behind closed doors. They now if a girl came on to them or something like that, they just kind of, I got somebody back at home, or you know let the girl down gently. They wouldn't just flat out look at them and go, no, if you put one in my mouth, I'll hold it. No, they didn't do that. But, and I mean, I can tell you this, you would not have known it. I mean, and, it's really uncomfortable when you go from high school to college, and then you find out some of the guys that you showered with for 2 or 3 weeks are gay. And it's all open showers and stuff, and you're like, whoa, and like that guy comes in, all of a sudden you walk straight out of the shower. And I mean, you get out of there kind of as quick as you can. And I it just it's kind of a culture shock, if that makes sense, because you go from high school to college, and then and a lot of those guys, like I said, everybody knew it, and hey, they did their thing, we did ours. you know, uh, we didn't. We had one guy that came on the team. He tried to throw it in everybody's face, and he got told pretty quick, "There's a respect line. Don't cross it." And he crossed it a couple of times, and he had a chat with some people. Let's just say that. Okay, leave it at that. And everything got straightened out in the chat. From what I was told, I was not there. I just heard about it, and I'm being 100% honest. So this is all hearsay at this point. What happened on the chat? And they uh, had the chat with him, and after that, for some reason, he didn't talk about it. He didn't throw it in everybody's face. He didn't flaunt it. He didn't, he toned it down in that locker room, and he toned it down out in public, because I mean, he was told, um, if he keeps it up in the locker room, something might happen.
Okay.
Accidents happen in a locker room all the time. So,
Accidents happen everywhere.
especially in a football locker room. But yeah, I mean, sometimes they just happen just for shits and giggles. So, how a guy got hit in the head with a helmet, I don't fucking know. But I do know the helmet was in my hand when he got hit. I don't know how he got hit in the head with a helmet and why, but anyway, things happen,
Yeah, they do.
and
There's a way to work shit out if you got people willing to work it out. So, but going back to my original point,
there's a
we
line you
should.
don't cross, and people are really starting to cross it, and they've been flaunting it, throwing it in your face, making you shoving it down your fucking throat,
Yeah.
and going, now you got to choke on it because you know all this. Well, I'm
Well,
sorry, but you can call me whatever, but anyway, I'm a Christian conservative. I believe in the Bible. If you come to my church and you're gay, hey, I want you to hear the Lord. Maybe something will sink in, and then you'll start living your life right. But if you come to join the church, that's where I have a problem. And I've actually left churches because, when I voiced my opinion on that, they didn't agree with me. And I'm like, look, when you join a church, you're saying you want to live your life by that book up there. And that book up there says in the Bible. I said, that's like let the murderer come in there that goes out and murders people, and, just saying, okay, cool, come on, go to church with us, and join our church. We want you in our church. That's the same thing. It says in the Bible, thou shalt not kill, which means thou shalt not murder. Now you don't plan to go kill somebody. And it's just like letting somebody that does that join your church. And you need to live your life by that book. You need to try to live your life. There's 10 rules laid out that, hey, and then there's a few others that are in the Bible that say, and the only one that's an abomination that I know of is that one little line. And I've read it so from cover to cover a couple of times.
Well,
Now don't call me, a Bible beater and all that, because I'm not. I don't know that book as well as I should, but I know it well enough, and that's just what I believe. I believe that if you want to come join my church, you need to stop living that way and start living the other way, the right way. And, you know, if you want to join it, you can come and listen all you want. I have no problem with that because I'm hoping something might sink in, you know, and you might start thinking about, hey, if I die, I don't want to go down there where it's real hot. I want to go up there to pearly gates. I mean, there's just things you got to think about there. And that's just my opinion here. Okay, this is my opinion. So if somebody gets mad, y'all can blast me online. I don't care. That's just my belief on it.
well, I think we're all on the same page there. The point I was trying to make is that the country was founded on those beliefs and principles, and we've deviated from that. And because we've deviated from it so bad, that's what's allowed things like making same-sex marriage legal and allowing this fuckery to start taking the forefront. Like, you used to never see all this trans bullshit. And over the past 10 years, it's come out like, it's like cockroaches. And, it seems like everybody's trans now. Everybody, you got these people in women's sports that do the tuckables and are out there, beating the shit out of them, boxing or whatever they're doing. And you've got these different things that's been accepted now, maybe not so much now during this current regime change, but it's still out there going on. And so you've got these fucked up people that are out here claiming they're men or women, and they don't have the plumbing to back it up. And so they're going out here and like this guy that nutted up and fucking shot all those people at the ice rink at a hockey game. If you look at this dude, he's certifiably fucked in the head. Look at him. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure it out. And
I haven't seen
this
the guy
is where
or
we're
read
at
it yet,
because
so.
we've allowed this. This is the kind of shit we've encouraged.
Can
So
I ask
now
one question?
we're fighting an uphill battle to fix our society, which is already on the brink of going to shit anyways. And it's because you've allowed shit like this to infiltrate every level of our life in this country.
And it's uniquely Western society.
Can I ask one question? Was he taking medication to like hormones and all that kind of crap?
I do not know. I've not dug that much into it. I just have watched the shooting
Okay.
video and how his own kids have said that he was fucked in the head, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
For him to go up in there and do what he did, you see an innocent bystander come and grab him, trying to restrain him while he's shooting these people. And he's just sitting in the stands and says, hey, it's be a good time to start killing people. Takes out his wife. I want to say, let me double check because I don't want to get the wrong information.
Hang on, I'm confused. He took out his wife or his partner?
His wife. W-I-F-E. Wife.
All right. Was it the question I'm asking was it
ex-wife? I'm sorry. He killed his ex-wife and son.
Okay, his ex-wife. All right, so
I apologize.
Okay, that was confusing. That's why I asked that.
Well, I mean, he's confused apparently, so shit happens. But I'm sitting here looking at Communist News Network, which I don't usually do, but it was the quickest to get to it.
Hey, just
he killed his ex-wife and one son. Let's see, that ex-wife Rhonda Dorgan and adult son Aiden Dorgan It was the older son he killed. I think the younger son was playing on the game. Then, of course, he shot himself after he did all this other dumb shit. Typical pussy. And, you know, my philosophy is if you're going to go in there and you're going to do something base, evil, you should at least have the balls to own it.
Yeah.
Because you're going to hell. You might as well go on the chariot when you do it.
Right.
But no, you don't want to do that because you're a pussy. You're afraid you're going to get hold to you. So you're going to take yourself out because you're a pussy. Go out like a fucking Klingon. At least face it head on.
Right.
Just saying. I mean, if you're going to do it, show you got the fucking cojones. I'm not condoning anybody going out there committing crimes or doing evil shit. But if you're going to sit here and you think you're all this, these sick fucks do, this happens every time. How many fucking trans shooters have we had in the past 10 years? I know off the top of my head, you've got this fucktard. You got the one in Canada, which I'm not sure how he was able to get a gun. I figured he'd be using like a longbow or something. You got the fucktard that was, wasn't it a trans that shot up all them people that Batman premiered in Colorado?
Don't forget about the Army base in Texas.
Well, I know that one was trans, but I'm going back to the Batman movie, the premiere.
Oh, that redheaded kid.
Yeah, wasn't he trans?
Could be. He was ginger.
Got me.
And then you had the dude that went in the shopping center somewhere up north and lit all them people up and had been, you know, all these people have been some kind of gender issue. There's a fucking problem. There's a mental instability with them. If you don't know what plumbing you were born with, and you're wandering around wearing your mom's clothes and shit, there's a problem. Now, for people who are doing women's sports, that's because you're pussies. You couldn't cut it as a fucking male, so you figured, hey, I'm going to take a shortcut and degrade and shame all these women who bust their ass to be the best at what they do because I'm too much of a fucking cuck to pull my own weight against my own sex.
Right.
So I'm going to pretend that I don't have a fucking external plumbing and beat the shit out of y'all so I can feel like I'm somebody. They're fucked in the head too, right here.
You heard about the weightlifter in Canada, didn't you?
No.
This guy was like a world record holder in like the heavy division. And like he had set, you know, like every time he got under a bench press bar, he broke his own record, you know, that kind of thing. Every time he got under a squat bar or a deadlift, same thing. And he went and he did this to basically prove a point. He went and, you know, to one of his meets and they were checking him in and he said, okay, I want to compete in the women's division. And they said, do what? You're a man. He said, no, I identify as a woman now. And so they let him lift in the women's division. He didn't just win it. He set a world record every time he got under the bench press bar, squat bar, or deadlift bar. And then he's standing up there, you know, on the first place pedestal. They're announcing all the records he broke and all that kind of crap. And then when they got done, he turns around and he says, all right, I did this to prove a point. He turns around and hands the first place deal to the girl in second place, moves her up on the second place pedestal, and then she passed hers to the, you know, and so on. And he said, look, men have no business to, he goes, I could dominate this. I could set a record every time I come over here and nobody could touch me. He said, I could just do my warm-up lifts and nobody could touch me. He said, no. He said, I compete in the men's division. And had he competed in the men's division that day, I think he would have come in like second.
Right.
But he didn't even, you know, to be honest with you, I don't think he was really trying. You know, I mean,
think I remember this guy.
If
I remember correctly, he kind of reminded me. Well, he resembled. There's a slight resemblance to AV.
Yeah, this dude was like jacked out of his mind.
Well, yeah, I mean, no, I'm saying slight resemblance. I'm not trying to I'm not trying to down the weightlifter. I'm just saying that's what I thought of. I know you're talking about.
Yeah, and the guy just, but I mean, he did that and it was like a big national meet, and got a lot of media attention. And then when he did it, and then for about 2 or 3 days, it was all over, and then all of a sudden, bam, nobody talked about it.
Right.
And he was, and I'm like, okay, I mean, if you go and look at like pretty much every state, okay, high school, let's go to track and field now. Go look at, let's say, oh, I don't know, California. Go to the lowest classification of track, which might be like what, 1A, Class B, schools. Go look at their state records for the guy running anything, guy throwing shot put, guy throwing javelin, anything in 1A, okay? Just, and not looking at state records, just look at the team that won it, okay? The times that they ran.
Yeah.
And then go look at the girls' women's Olympic records. The high school kids in 1A will have faster times than the world record.
Okay.
Just, and these are Olympic records that kids 15, 16, 17 years old can break. I'm not knocking women here. I'm just letting you know there is a big physical difference. Now, yeah, you have a woman every once in a while that can compete with your average man. But
yeah, but how many of them women are actually women, or somebody taking hormones like that damn weird ass bitch that got caught by the Russians and looks like a dude?
That one I don't know.
You know who I'm talking about? Greer or Grenier or whatever her name is?
Yeah.
She looks like she should have a mustache and be riding in a damn low riding fucking Buick somewhere in the hood.
But if you look at what she did and look at who she didn't beat the guys that like it would have been in her division.
Well,
she
I understand that,
like
but I mean,
5th.
There's some females out there that don't look like females.
It's true.
And I don't know if they're getting damn injections to be dudes or they're dudes getting injected. There's something not kosher in the pudding, and they're dodging it some kind of way. Like that Grenier bitch, I'll bet money that she's got some kind of hormone shit going on. She ain't a straight up female, I don't think. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but that's my opinion. And there's others out there that fall under that same category. Now, talking about some women out there that compete with men.
Remember average man.
Well, remember the famous was it Kornikova or something? She was a tennis player, Russian. Yeah. Kind of looked like a dude. She could tear up she could go on a tennis court and wear your ass out all day long.
She was just a handsome woman.
I tell a true story about somebody, and this guy tells it all the time. Y'all ever heard the name Andrew Whitworth?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. He retired offensive tackle from the Los Angeles Rams, I think.
Yeah.
And right after they won the Super Bowl. And he played left tackle. And he got drafted in 2005 or 6. I don't remember what year he got drafted. He is from West Monroe High School in West Monroe, Louisiana. He went to LSU on a full scholarship. The guy was all state, all through high school. The guy was a bull, just flat out. In 6th grade, he went out for football. And first time he ever put on pads and everything, he got down a 3-point stance, person he was head up on. And, they kind of told him what to do. And they said, hut, and then he gets knocked on his ass. Do you know who knocked him on his ass?
Who?
The coach's daughter.
Okay.
And that was in 6th grade. So, now I can promise you this, that girl wouldn't have been able to do that by the time he was in 7th or 8th grade.
Right.
I mean, but, so, and Andrew, he tells that story, and what he learned from it and all that, I mean, you look it up on YouTube, and I mean, I know Andrew personally. So I'm not talking out of school here. I mean, I've known him since high school. Played high school ball against him, competed in sports against him. So, you know, and Andrew, dude, dude's he's a big guy, and he's stout as a bull, quick as got good footwork, everything. But he had never played the sport before. The coach's daughter had. She had the correct form and everything, and once he learned that form, that never happened again.
Okay.
And then he learned to work. He said that was the biggest tool right there that taught him one thing: you have to really work. It doesn't just you can't just step on a field and you know. And some guys can step on a field, but once you get to that next level, guess what? Everybody's just as good as you are.
So was he a Peter Puffer or what? What does that
No,
have to
no,
do
no.
with
He married a girl that was actually, I'm not going to say his wife's name, but he married a girl that was Miss Louisiana.
Janice?
And no, 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 no. This girl, she's very attractive, and they're happily married. They've got a couple of kids. I think they've adopted a couple.
Yeah, that's what they
Um,
all say.
you know, that no, no, dude. I'm telling you, he's not gay. I can promise you that he's not gay. You know, but yeah, but first time, yeah, he got laid out. He didn't know what he was doing. Girl did, and all that. But that was sixth grade. After that, I think the girl played in seventh grade with him and was on their team. And then after that, she went and did softball and basketball, girls basketball, and all that.
Well, I mean, it's a proven fact that 98% of women they just don't have the structure to do things men do. They're not designed that way. God didn't create us to be that way. We might be able to adapt to the environment to survive, etc. But women were never meant to be the big guys. That's what the men are for.
Oh,
Just damn.
But I mean, so like I said, that when you hit that age about junior high, that's where I mean girls will start kind of developing and maturing faster than boys physically. That's just a fact. And that's kind of what happened there. But it taught him a lesson that, you know, don't judge a book by its cover, and don't you have to work, and he said that was the best lesson he ever got in football, was that first snap. And he said that he worked his butt off trying to make everybody forget about it, and everybody still loved to kind of rub it in, a little bit. And now it's kind of a ha ha, but it's a true story.
Okay.
I
Well,
mean, when he accepted the NFL Man of the Year award, he told that story when he goes out and talks to kids. That's usually the icebreaker, and he does that to kind of explain to them that, hey, you have to work, you have to learn your craft, you have to, the girl knew the techniques and everything, he didn't. And you know, and she'd also probably at that time, was probably, I'm not going to knock Andrew, but I'm going to say at that time she was probably as strong because he had never been in a weight room before that. I do know that because he's told me that. And so, the girl was probably doing push ups and sit ups her whole life, because her dad's a football coach, and then goes out for football and all that, for seventh grade, and you know, winds head up on a guy that winds up being the NFL Man of the Year, MVP, just a bunch of awards. I mean, the guy's got a state championship ring, a national championship ring from college, and a Super Bowl ring. So, I mean, you know, he's played at the highest levels and competed at the highest levels, but it was that first play that he, Every time he puts his hand in the dirt, he says, I try not to ever let that happen again. He said, because that one thing, people tease him about it, and pick with him about it. Now, I can tell you this, if you're an average person, don't go up and mess with him about it on the street just because you might not like what happens. But, if you know him or something and you want to kind of have a little fun, mention something about 6th grade and you'll see him kind of, he might tell you to shut your mouth, and everybody starts laughing. But yeah, I mean, he's a very humble guy in a way. He's cocky in a way, but he has, in my opinion, the right to be on some things. But he's humble. He's down to earth. He, you know, so it can happen, but it's rare. It is extremely rare, and that's the only case I know of that something like that has ever happened. So, that's why I won't say that, you know, your average woman, and your average guy, but at a certain level, no, they don't need to play same sports together. That's when people start getting really hurt.
Well, trying to get back to what we were originally talking about. Let's go back to the whole thing about the trans shooters and how many we've had. And I went to Wikipedia, which ironically, Wikipedia has the page flagged for possible deletion.
Possible what?
Deletion. It lists, I'm going to read you off the ones that it lists. 2018 Aberdeen, Maryland shooting. Let's see. 4 people shot and killed at a Rite Aid distribution center. That was a transgender. Some of these I've never heard of. We all heard about the Nashville shooting, which they tried to bury that as much as they possibly could. The Pawtucket, shooting of 2026. This was the one that happened in Rhode Island, the one we were just talking about.
Right.
Then in 2019, there was a shooting that occurred at STEM Schools Highland Ranch in Colorado. One student was killed and 8 others were injured. And then you've got another one in 2026, Tumbler Ridge shooting, which happened in British Columbia this week. 18-year-old killed her mother and a half brother at their home before going to the nearby secondary school, where they killed 6 people and injured 27. Okay. This is just, there's more than these. These are just the ones that are listed here in Wikipedia. Yeah. There's more that are the same thing, but the media has spun them in one way or another because it didn't fit their narrative.
They kill it as fast as they can, too.
Well, yeah, because these people are so warped. This is
forgot about Uvalde.
Well, yeah, but I'm just telling you what's listed here. I understand there's others out there. I'm just saying these are the ones that Wikipedia lists. I'm not saying Uvalde or any of the others aren't part of it, but this is just an example. The point I'm trying to make is I think these people are so warped and so deviant. Their minds are, they're such deviants that they can't process things like we process them, because they've gone down this rabbit hole of whatever insanity they've become. And I think at some point they want to lash out at the normal world around them because it refuses to say you're normal. Now, maybe I'm wrong. This is just me speculating.
No.
But there's got to be a trigger somewhere, and that kind of makes sense, in my opinion. I'm not saying, I mean, something's got to be triggering all these people. And it's all kind of the same shit, and they're all doing it the same way. There's a pattern here. It's not the fucking gun. It's not the car. It's not the knife. It's not the IED that Leroy made. They've all got that warped ass complex where they want to go out and cause as much harm and death and destruction and get their 15 minutes of fame. They're all doing the same. There's a pattern here. And I don't understand why it's not being taken seriously.
Doesn't fit the agenda.
Well, it should cut. It should fit the agenda of the current administration.
Yeah, I mean, it should. I think we've all seen some things in the current administration that you know we didn't really. They ran on, but they haven't given it to us.
No, no, we've. That's a whole. We don't even need to go down that rabbit hole because it's a whole
Yeah,
other show in itself. I
right.
don't want to get started. Um, but this is just another sign of the how our society is falling apart. I want to do the next one if we're able to do it on the whole Islamic angle of all that shit going on because it kind of feeds into the same situation. And then maybe once we're done digesting that fuckery, we can come back and address our own government and what they're doing because it
Right.
all goes hand in hand. It's just you got to talk about the different steps involved because this fuckery is wide reaching and there's a bunch of branches.
Oh yeah.
My opinion. So
Hey, I've got somebody here with me,
yeah,
um, and this person is a preacher,
yeah.
has been, okay, and she's going to talk about the Bible here just for a second, okay,
All right.
and y'all can just call her Miss J, not J as in like J-Y, just Miss J, okay, or Miss Rose, call her Miss Rose,
Okay.
okay. Damn.
Okay.
The Bible.
My understanding of the Bible is that Adam was created. He needed someone to help him in life. So God created the female. And his main purpose of their life was to form a family. And it says that man and woman shall marry and conceive and raise a family. And in this present day, we are trying to keep churches are trying to keep that practice in most of the churches. And that's why a certain church definitely was united, but they left that because they wanted to follow God's words in the Bible that we are to unite as man and woman because he created that woman to be with the man and to be partners and to raise a family because God is our family. He's our father and we are his children.
I
Okay,
agree. Well said.
now with that, also now let's talk about just instincts, natural instincts here. Man are protectors, women, or let's just go, maternal.
They're nurturers.
There you go. And you know, when people start doing that whole crossing over and trying to do this and that, I don't get it because my instincts are not that. I don't know about Jays, like Ranger Jays, but I know everyone else in this room is probably the same way except Jay. But well, depending what day of the week. Love you, Jay.
Well, I think we're all in agreement there, and it's just there's so many different things going on here with our society and the world as we know it, and it's like a rotten onion. There's a lot of layers here, and it's not something that you can't just discuss one part and it be the crux of everything. There's multiple parts here, and unfortunately, our own government kind of lays at the heart of it. That and the 1% that dominate everything that goes on. So, but that, like I said, that's a whole nother beast, and we need to kind of wrap things up. Um, Sax man, you got any parting shots you'd like to make before we go?
Mm, golly. I guess it would be, stay prayed up.
Yep.
Um, the the decline of Western civilization ain't getting any better. Um, and you know, I believe that good God fearing folks are about the only thing that's going to save us, or save what's left of what comes out of this in the end. That's really about all I got right now.
All right, brother. I hear you. Moose, what you got?
Uh, did anybody watch
No,
the TP halftime show?
Nope.
You didn't hear Kid Rock's last song in the third verse?
No, I didn't watch any of that. I mean, I'm not,
You need
not
to
knocking it, but no.
just look up Kid Rock's last song for the Super Bowl show.
Yeah.
That verse, um, people need to listen to it. Need to listen to that whole song. People really need to listen to that third verse because there, like you said in that song, there's a book in your house with some dust on it, and you need to go over there and crack it open and read it before it's too late.
This was when you did
So
the thing for TPUSA, not for the
correct, the TP
right
USA halftime show.
turning point. Right. Okay. I just want to make sure I have my
Right,
facts straight.
and he had a he performed. He was the last singer to perform in it. He did the one song kind of he's known for, that bang to bang, song, and then he did that song,
Okay.
and he it's you just need to listen to the song. But that third verse, he actually said in there after he wrote the song, he was sitting there staring at it, reading the words, and he said, "I need a third verse to this song," and he wrote that third verse. And he
Okay.
says, there's a book in your house." He never says the Bible. He just says, "There's a book in your house. You need to dust off. There was a man that was put on a cross to give you everlasting life. And you need to, basically crack that book open and read it." And, and the guide, I mean, it's a rule and guide to live your life by. And
Yes.
if you pick that book up and you try to live your life by that book, I promise you, you know, the world would be so much better. But, you know, I mean, it's just the world's gone crazy. There's a poem by Tecumseh Sherman that I'd love to get a copy of, maybe get T to read it on here sometime. Um, and not Tecumseh Sherman, the Chief Tecumseh. I don't even know the name of it. Um, they call it Wise Words, I think. And it's a poem that if people would kind of live their life by that, you know, hey, the world would be a lot better place. And just because people want to dress up and whatever, hey, whatever blows your skirt up, do it behind your house. Do it, you know, but don't bring it out in public and throw it in other people's face. Make them accept it and call it normal. Don't tell me that a man can carry a baby. I got news for you. The only way a man's going to carry a baby is in his arms. You know, men are not. We're not designed to birth a child. Women are. You know, there's in you know there's I don't understand this world, why it's going this way. I don't like it, but and I fear for my son.
Yep.
The world that I'm leaving him.
Yep.
And there's a saying that you try to leave things better than you left it. That way, whoever comes behind you, hey, it's set up for them a little better. And we've gone away from that.
Yes,
That
we
whole
have.
mentality is going out the door.
Yep. It is.
People need to wake up and realize, hey, some things you just, you know, I mean, I spoke up one time and almost caused a pretty good little fight in New Orleans. But I kind of spoke up one time, and me and a couple of my buddies about I almost had a fight with a couple other people, and just because I had enough
Right.
and said what was on my mind, and you know, people are starting to get pushed to that point where I got that night, and just because you know you have the right to do this doesn't mean that I have the right to like it. I don't have to like it. If I don't like it, I can change the channel. And what had happened was we actually left one bar. We left 2 bars because this group kept coming in. And finally, we had had enough. And we'd already had words with them at the first bar. And I said my piece. And one of them made the mistake of stepping up, and a buddy of mine knocked him out. And that kind of ended it. And, people need to just wake up. And because if you don't start fighting for what you believe in, it's going to die. And I'm not telling people to go out and fight and argue. I'm saying, look, sit down and have a civil conversation. And the minute you can't do that, we have a problem. Because when fists start flying, talking goes out the door. I don't know if y'all have ever noticed that in a fight. Go watch any combat sport. You don't see them in the middle of the ring talking, do you? And it's not the best person that can debate in that situation that wins the fight. No, it's not. It's the person that can beat up on the other guy. So when fists start flying, that's what happens. So people just need to take a breath, take a step back, sit down, talk, and make people understand this is what, this and this. This is the way I feel. And you need to accept the way I feel. Just like, I accept your right to do whatever. You can go do it, knock yourself out. Just don't throw it in my face. I don't throw my life in your face. And then back to the transgender shootings. Yes, I do think there's a link, and this is my opinion. Okay, Facebook or YouTube, this is my opinion. So do not hit us with a flag because this is my opinion. This is not fact or anything I can back up with science. Okay, yet. But I have a feeling that if we start researching a lot of these people that are going through this gender transition and start shooting up these places, I have a feeling there's a link there because something gets crossed in the wiring because you're not meant to have this stuff in your body. It's just like somebody on steroids, when they lose their temper, they go into what they call a roid rage, kind of thing. I think it's the same thing. They're connected. But that's just my opinion. But people, seriously, go listen to that Kid Rock song. Listen to that third verse. It's close, very close. And then if you get a minute, 5 minutes, just, if you don't have a Bible in your house, you can look one up online and just read it. Just read one verse. Just read one verse a day. Just please. And let's go back to the values that this country was founded on. Just my opinion. And I mean, they need to take a breath. And another thing I don't understand, they go and protest with all these. What the hell is that? All right.
I don't know what that was.
All right, that wasn't me. So they go protest with all these Muslims and everything, and the Muslims are just using them because the minute the Muslims take over, they're not going to put up with that crap. They're going to throw them off buildings. So, they need to, if they want to do that crap, they should go right now to Iran and join in those protests over there. And let's see how it works out for you. Right. I mean, that right there should tell you something is not right with being that lifestyle. I mean, you've got several different religions here. The only one that'll kind of put up with you is the Christian religion. And I think the Jewish, in the Quran. But Islam, they don't put up with it. They just go ahead and kill you. But then again, they try to kill everybody that's not Muslim. But anyway, that's my opinion on everything. So go ahead and don't trust the government.
Okay. Well, I'll keep mine short and sweet, and I'm going to have me some late dinner, hopefully, if my wife is not thrown with the dogs. Everybody, keep your head on a swivel. I know you've heard that many, many times from us, but there's just so much shit going on. Pay attention to these elections. If you got midterms coming up or local elections, you need to educate yourself and step up and do your civic duty. Because change actually starts at the bottom. Whatever you got to start somewhere. Start local, make things happen. You can work from there. Get involved, pay attention to what's going on with the things around you, pay attention to the news. I mean, granted, you can't really, you got to discern what the truth is there, but pay attention to what's going on both nationally and globally. Stay prayed up, absolutely. And I know there's a lot of negative shit out there, but don't forget or take for granted the positives you currently have in your life, whether it be family, loved ones, whatever, friends. All these things are there for y'all to kind of appreciate what you're doing all this for. That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to carry on and make things better for everything I've just mentioned. So keep that in mind. Keep your eyes on the prize. Stay the course. God willing, we'll get through this. So until next time, everybody have a great week, whatever's left of it. Stay out of trouble because we only have so much bail money. And we'll catch you on the flip side. God bless you all. Night, everyone.
Night.
Hey, hang on a second, guys, offline. Let me know when we're clear, T.